Andrew Romine here, All Nine Romine with Matt Hall, as always, and we have a special guest today. My dad, ASU Hall of Famer, 81, 82, All-American, College World Series champion, Kevin Romine. I know.
Good morning, guys.
And
you left out Boston. He played for the Boston Red Sox. I mean,
he did.
What else could you ask for?
We got a lot to cover, so I was going to get to that. But anyway, so did sign with the Red Sox. Signed with the Red Sox in '82 after the '81 championship season. He hit .410, no big deal, at a Division I school, and then he hit .406, and he stole 100 and something bases in 2 years. So I think he's got a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, that's a decent career, if you ask me. It's not bad.
It was a long time ago.
That's probably more stolen bases and a higher average than my entire life combined.
Yeah, well, you don't really realize it at the time.
So, all right, well,
amazing.
we're gonna get right into it. This episode's called Raising Big Leaguers. So obviously, he was knowledgeable enough to be able to raise 2 sons to get to the big leagues. So I just want you to touch on that a little bit. Give us a rundown of how it feels to be a parent that was able to raise 2 kids that got to the big leagues.
Oh, well, you know what? You got to go back a little bit farther than just how you got there, or where you were. I mean, as far as I was concerned, my biggest goal was to raise 2 young gentlemen that were able to cope with society and become a good part of life and raise their own families and stuff like that. As far as the becoming a big leaguer, I think that was something that just happened in time. I tried to bring you guys up in an environment where it was conducive to learning. I wanted to instill certain values in you guys that would carry on to your adult life and through school and stuff like that. I mean, it's like, I tried to put you in an environment to learn first, to become good people. And on top of that, then we started introducing baseball and some other things like that. And I never really felt like I pressured you guys to play baseball. I kind of led you in a direction and allowed your love for the game to come out. And then I tried to provide a background where you guys could excel. And it's like, okay, you get home from school. What's the first thing you do? You got to do your homework. You got to become good, smart people. You have to do the homework first. And then it's like, what's after that? And they're like, we'll get in the cage. It's like, okay, we're going to get in the cage after you do your homework. So I always made it an environment that you enjoy doing. It's not like, I don't even think you guys became full-time baseball players until you were well into high school. We tried to provide a background. You guys enjoyed playing soccer and football and running track and all these things. And I felt that was a good division, because I kind of felt that if you push too hard for somebody to do something, they're going to find it to be a chore rather than a love. And I think if you guys didn't develop a love for the sport and a love for the game and want to get in that cage and want to push harder and be the last guy out on the field and things like that, you're never going to make it. And that kind of applies to life in general. I think if you guys dedicate yourself to becoming good human beings and good people and develop friendships and those kind of things, that it can lead you to a point where you can have the opportunity to make it if you push yourself hard enough.
All right. Well, go ahead, Maddie.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say that kind of takes me to my first question, because I spent the last 9 years in California doing private lessons with kids, and I get asked from the parents all the time. They're like, this club ball team wants my son to play in the fall and winter, and they're telling me if my son doesn't play this fall or this winter, they're not going to have a chance to play in the spring on this club team. And, I tell them, I'm like, your son does not need to be playing baseball year round. He needs to develop himself as an athlete. And so I think hearing it from somebody who's actually been a father, who's done it, what's your advice on, playing baseball year round versus, combining it with a different sport? Like you were saying, Andrew and Austin played soccer and football. How important is it for them to play multiple sports versus just specialize early on?
It's a good question, in a sense that a lot of people are getting caught up in this, got to play baseball year round if you're going to make it. Got to, if you're going to be a football player, you got to play football. And you got to go to camps, and and really all I can do is give you my opinion. And it's not going to be everybody's opinion, because everybody, you'll get 6 different answers from 6 different people. But what I would say is what you're saying makes sense. I never tell a kid that you got to play all the time. Every kid, every child, every kid, every teenager, every adult is going to reach their plateau, and they're going to play to their ability. And what your job as a coach or a parent to do is to allow them to climb that ladder to the peak that they can reach. You never force them. You don't make them. You make it. I didn't want to ever force the kids to do something, but if they started something, they finished it.
For sure.
And Andrew and Austin, if you ask them, they'll tell you, we knew if we started something, we were going to finish it, whether we liked it or we didn't, because you don't quit on life. You don't quit on sports. So push them towards a direction, provide them with the opportunity to do what they want to do. There's nothing wrong with playing football or basketball or soccer or anything. It doesn't have to be sports all the time. I think if you push so hard, what I'm seeing a lot of kids today is burnout. These kids are getting burned out by the time they're 14 years old. They'd rather be on Facebook than in a cage or on a basketball court, or trying to get better at what they do. So never push to the point that they get burned out. Make it enjoyable. Give them some other diversities in their life to do. Push school. You got to have a smart kid. Finish school. Show them that you have to learn how to learn. Want to be a part of that. Succeeding in school and life is just as important as succeeding in baseball.
Oh, 100%.
It really is.
And one of the things that I like to tell kids that I'm giving lessons to and talking about, when you do other sports, there's things that you learn in other sports that help you in baseball that you wouldn't necessarily get. The things that you're doing in football and soccer aren't necessarily the same type of activities you're doing in baseball. So you can learn things from other sports. But all right, so next question. Are camps and lessons as beneficial as they're set out to be, or do you think that they're not necessary at all?
Beneficial. I think every opportunity a kid can have to learn and absorb knowledge and go. I mean, I don't think camps are going to get more important as you get closer to what your goal is. Like, you need exposure if you're going to go to a school. I mean, how are you going to go to a D1 school if people don't see you, right? So I have people ask me all the time, should I take my kid to these showcases and things like that? And you know what? Yeah, it is all about exposure when it starts to get to that age. Now, do you need to take your kid to a camp and belong to all these club teams at 9 or 10 years old? Absolutely not. It should be something the child enjoys doing at that age. Like I said, the key that you got to remember as a parent is burnout. Do not burn your kid out on being, okay, you got to go to practice 5 days a week. You got a club tournament this weekend. And then they shove them into basketball, and they've got them playing baseball and basketball and all this. Allow a kid to be a kid. Don't let them sit around on their rear ends all day. Keep them busy, but make it fun for them to want to do. So
For sure.
Camps are good. If the kid wants to go to a camp and you can afford it, and it's something that's nearby and not too far, yeah, let them go. I mean, who's asking? Are you asking the kid to go, or is the kid asking you? Does he really want to do it? Are lessons good? Absolutely they are. Andrew can tell you, how many hours did we spend in batting cages? Did it help?
I mean,
the only person who can answer that is you.
It definitely helped. But so you touched on getting burnout, and one thing that comes along with that is getting hurt. So what's your, and I actually called you the other day because I had a client and one of the players, his shoulder was hurting. And most people are just going to say, keep coming, keep, spending money.
What's the first thing I told you? What was the first thing I said?
You said shut him down. The first thing you said was shut him down.
How old is this kid? 10 years old? 12 years old?
He was 13 years old.
All right. Are you gonna make a pro team at 13? No, but you might have a torn rotator cuff at 14.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be realistic here. What do we really want? It's like when you were in Little League, and we're in the All-Stars, we're in the state championship. You're my guy on the mound today. You say, Dad, my shoulder's a little sore. You're at shortstop. What's more important? Your shoulder or a state all-star game. And anybody that would tell you the game should not be coaching, ever.
Right.
I mean, there's just no place to push a child. You do not risk the child's safety or well-being for a game, ever.
Right. Like you said,
Now,
you could cause something that could hurt them in the long run. So then they lose their career altogether. All right, Maddie, what's your next one?
Well, I saw a post the other day. It's probably like a month ago, and it was a 16U travel team that had just won this huge like national showcase, and they took a team picture, and 4 of the kids were in slings because they had either elbow or shoulder injuries, and I'm like, okay, great, you guys won this national tournament, but these kids who are getting injured, that might ruin their career because very, very few colleges are going to take a chance on a kid who's already had Tommy John surgery. So even if you're throwing 94, but you've got an injured arm, you know, who's going to take a chance on that? That's a big liability. So it's like, it might be great for at the moment, but in the long run, these injuries and this burnout it's not sustainable. And it's not something that is going to lead to you actually getting to the big leagues, which is where most of these kids' goals are. And finding that balance of playing, you know, enough baseball a year, but also doing enough of something else to keep it fresh and keep it fun and staying healthy is key.
Yeah. You touched on a good point. That's something that started, 30 years ago. I mean, when you guys were first starting to be 12 years old, and there was starting to be such a rush to get these kids noticed and get these kids to excel to such a high level. In the big picture, it doesn't really mean anything. A 10-year-old kid needs to be a 20-year-old kid that still throws 94. And if he's a 20-year-old kid that's arms in a sling and got a torn rotator, he's not ever going to get a chance. I mean, honestly, the scouts that I talk to, the guys that I know, they'd probably tell you, hey, you got a kid that throws 94, don't let him pitch. Don't let him throw. We'll make him a pitcher. We'll make him a pitcher. You know, you got a kid that can hit a 96-mile-an-hour fastball when he's 14. Great, but don't push him to the point where he starts breaking down, trying to be better and make a college team at 12. Let him have fun. Let him develop. Let him develop into a good, rounded player. I think it's not so much the parents all the time that push these kids that far, but everybody wants their kid to be among the elite, and they feel like if they don't push their kids into these showcases and two or three different teams and stuff like that, the kid's gonna break down. He's either gonna break down, he's gonna lose interest, or he's gonna quit excelling. He's gonna peak out. So let them come along at their own pace. Provide them with an environment where they can excel, and then let them enjoy playing. The more they can learn, the better. I mean, my job was to instill that to you guys, and every other kid that I ever coached or taught. Give them the tools to excel. So, all right. So you did a lot of good things. You did a lot of things right. You did most of the things right, I would say, if you've raised 2 big leaguers. What's 1 or 2 things that you might have done differently while you were parenting a kid who was playing baseball? You know, sometimes even I could get caught up in a moment, and then I would have to step back. You know, you get in a game, in a heated moment of a game, you kind of lose control of that environment. You kind of get swept on it. So you have to learn to be able to step back as a parent or a coach and say, what is the real big picture here? Is this game really all that? So sometimes even the best of us get caught up in the moment, and we want to make it. And then I kind of look as a thing that I feel as a coach or a teacher or something in the game is always work with what the child has to offer. And to expand this a little, because I know we don't have forever, but you don't walk up to a kid, watch him take a swing, and then change him. Every guy that you guys work with, every child that you guys teach, even if it's a college player, you watch what they have to offer and you expand on what they do well. Yep. You don't try to go in there and make Joey hit like Matt Hall. You let Joey hit like Joey, and Matt Hall makes Joey better. So let's not go in there to change everybody.
And you see a lot of kids these days watching video trying to hit like Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is 7 feet tall, 300 pounds of muscle. You're not going to hit like Aaron Judge, and if you try to, you're going to fail. So All right, Matt, what's your next question?
So my next question, this is like a little bit off topic, but I have to know what was it like playing at Fenway Park? Because I went to a game there when I was playing in Cape Cod, and it was the most unreal atmosphere of baseball I've ever been a part of, and I just can't even imagine what it'd be like being an actual athlete on the field playing there. So I have to know.
Oh, wow. Fenway Park is well, it's like one of the oldest, probably the oldest park that in Wrigley, I suppose. But just walking into the environment, walking in, as soon as you come in the gate underneath, you start to, it's almost like you can smell the baseball for the last 80 or 100 years. It's just, there's every year there's a new layer of green paint. They don't get rid of the old paint. They just paint over the old, they just paint over it. And it's like, there's like 60 layers of paint. You scratch and it's like layer after layer. And it's just the stands are there. You go out to the Monster, and we used to go out there.
You signed it, right? You signed on the inside?
Yeah. Yeah, you go in that little door off the left field line there, and there's like hundreds of guys' signatures out there. I mean, anybody you can think of that ever played the game has probably signed their name on the walls in there somewhere. It's just, it's almost like you can just smell the baseball history that's at that park. It's so unique to that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of new parks. They're beautiful. They're first. I mean, our locker room was shaped like a square, and one part and a pie shape, and another part, and I mean, you're talking about today's locker rooms. You guys are spoiled, man. I mean, we're in little tiny 20 by 20 foot rooms with, you got Wade Boggs on one side and Mike Greenwell on the other side, and you're like, you guys are all scrunched in, and you're wondering, man, we need some room here. And it's like, it's what it was. The game was different back then. I mean, they didn't put so much emphasis on that. It was just getting out and rubbing some dirt on it and throwing a ball around and hitting it. And it's just such a unique history at that ballpark. You just can't match it anywhere.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I went to Fenway for a night game, and then went to Yankee Stadium the next day, Old Yankee, and it blew me away like how different the atmosphere at Fenway was versus Yankee Stadium. Like both legendary parks, but it was way different. I would go back to Fenway in a heartbeat and watch baseball there all day long.
It's a very closed environments. It's like the fans are right on top of you. I mean,
yeah,
I'd be standing out in the outfield having conversations with fans during games between pitches. I mean, they're so close to you, and they're like, I mean, they're diehard. I'd be standing out there in center field. Some guys yelling at me from the center field stand. Romine, you should have hit that pitch. Why didn't you hit that pitch? I said, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's they live and die for you there, man. They're and you go up there and you do well, they cheer you. You do bad, you got to answer for it.
Yep.
They let you know, and it's like it's part of the game.
For sure.
So
it was amazing.
What was your fondest memory of playing in the big leagues? What sticks out the most? One memory only.
One memory only?
Yep.
I went 5 for 5 in Toronto.
That'll work.
That one sticks to my mind. It's like, man, this is fun.
That's why you kept.
It's hard to get. It's hard to have one.
That's why you kept telling me that Toronto is a great place to hit.
It is. I mean, it's like the difference between Toronto and old Detroit Stadium. I couldn't hit in Detroit, and it's like not only the fact that home plate was crooked and it screwed up my mind. I couldn't get straight because I think it was like tilted towards left field. It's just that some places, I mean, you guys know this, some places you hit better than others. And why is that? I mean, for me, it's background. If I'm trying to pick a ball out of 150 or 1,500 white shirts and red shirts and stuff, it's kind of hard. So when, you think of that, but, you ask me one, I mean, it's like, you got all kinds of things that stick out in your mind that are fun. But, that was a good day. There's other good days, like hitting a home run to win a game or going to the World Series in '86, things like that. I mean, there's all kinds of things that stick out in your mind.
Awesome.
So
all right,
I got one more quick one.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
So obviously Andrew and Austin had multiple experiences of being with each other in the big leagues or playing against each other. Like, what was the best memory for you watching them on TV? Like, what moment did they have that you just look back and it's like, wow, it's unbelievable that they had the opportunity to do that?
Oh, it wasn't TV. It was in Anaheim when him and Austin were out there. When Austin got called up and Andrew was there, and it was we went to the game, and also got in there, and the two guys, they got to play, and we got to watch them, and they came out after the game out of the dugout right there at the fence to us, and it's like a whole culmination of emotions that come. It's just overwhelming. It overwhelmed me. It was a moment I couldn't deal with.
I'm sure.
Everything that I've been through, I still could not control that moment in my life where they both stood there, and both of them were in the big leagues, and both, it's like it all happened. It all came to a head right there, and I just, wow, I couldn't deal with that. That was just beyond what any expectations that I ever had. I just, I look back and say, I just want to raise good kids. I want to have good people. I want good kids, and if they make it, that happened. I mean, I really don't have I can't even express the joy, the how proud I was, him and their moms at that point in our lives. It was just overwhelming.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It's awesome.
All right, before we get going, I wanted one special shout out question here. Janelle, obviously my sister, is asking who your favorite child is. So you better say the right answer right now. You better say the right answer. Oh, and we got another question. So
Janelle, you're my favorite, sweetheart. You know that.
All right, she's gonna love that. So I had to ask. Some advice. I got Silent Defender 15 here. What's some advice for a father teaching his son the game of baseball for the first time? So somebody who's never played.
Be patient. Be patient. Be supportive. If you throw them a ball and they miss it, pick it up and try it again. And always be supportive. They catch it, then you pat them on the butt and you say, let's play some more. And when they're done, move on. Come back to it again later on. Don't ever force a kid to have a catch with their dad. They got to ask you.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
They're gonna get plenty of negative feedback from coaches and teammates and all kinds of stuff in the future. They don't need it everywhere.
Don't expect a 6-year-old kid to be able to play fastball with you. We're just you just toss them the ball and have a little catch, baby steps. Never expect too much. Every kid's going to reach his potential. Your job's to help them get there.
Yep.
All right, Matty, you got anything else?
I don't think I got anything else. I think let your kid develop at his own pace, and like Kevin was saying, let them. They want to play baseball, let them play baseball. You can definitely push them a little bit, but do not overdo it. No scout cares that your 12-year-old kid won the U.S. NCAA quadruple A, whatever it is, tournament in Florida. No scout cares about that. So just go out, have fun, enjoy it, and then wherever the journey takes you, it takes you with baseball.
That's it.
It's a game, right? It's a game. It's supposed to be fun.
It's a game.
It is.
Awesome.
We lose track of that.
All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much, Dad. I know that you got.
Thank you for joining us.
You're super busy with retirement and laying by the pool and enjoying the Arizona sun. So thanks for taking the time to come out here.
Yeah, I know. I got to play golf on Wednesday.
Well, we're gonna try and get you back. I could only
play golf as good as I did baseball.
Oh God, all of us, right? The ball's just sitting there. It's not even moving. That's the part that frustrates me.
I know, really, right? How hard could it be?
Yeah, if you could just soft toss it to me, I'd probably be better off.
Yeah,
seriously. So we're gonna try and get you back on. I mean these things go so quick, and there's so much information to cover, and the amount of knowledge that you have obviously is through the roof. But we'll get you another time on another topic. Maybe talk a little more instruction on something next time.
You got it.
Awesome. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Right. Good. Hey guys, good luck with your new endeavors, and teach the new generation how to play the game right.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. All right, guys.
All right.
Like it, subscribe, follow us, pass it on, share it with your friends. We're going to get more of these going. And thank you, Kevin Romine, ASU Sun Devil, Boston Red Sox, and then my dad. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us here on Hall 9 Romine Ball Talk. We'll get back with you again soon. Talk to you later.
See you next Friday.